Stavros Tousios for M4Markets. Today we're going to have a look on Eurodollar and also CAD against the Japanese yen. Of course, just a reminder here that we've called that divergence a while ago and double divergence over here as well, and the wedge pattern that we saw ending that move to the upside. And there is, of course, potential now for a correction, and that correction, guys, in the longer term, even if this is the beginning of a new trend, could essentially take us all the way even down to 105 in the medium term. This is where, you know, the first support, the first decent support, also considering, of course, high activity at the level, is going to be. Then the 50% where sentiment changes, and the 61 would be considered a dip. If this is the beginning of a new trend, typically these corrections also tend to be deep. So I wouldn't be surprised even if we go back below parity. Now, a little bit closer, and as we zoom in though, we cannot ignore that we have a divergence to the upside. This divergence also appears on the dollar index, which we said maybe yesterday, I think it was, that you know, there was potential for further upside. That has actually happened in yesterday's session, and a divergence formed. However, also in the DXY, I expect this to continue up, which means, you know, this potentially could lead to further downside. It's nearly impossible to call the bottom in, okay, but we are very near, in my opinion, to and of course, given this sort of divergence, very near in putting some sort of support in. That would, of course, be potentially followed by a correction and further continuation. On the way up, and assuming that's the low for now, we have the same expectation. Anywhere between 38 and 62 is where prices can start receiving some sort of resistance. The way that we're going to move up, okay, is going to determine how deep we're going to go. If there is a correction, of course, it might be very shallow and we'll stop at 23. That is not going to be good for bulls. When it comes to CAD against the yen, look, we also see a move to the upside over here, okay, up to the 50%, 102, and also above the 100, because that was a very big milestone for bulls, okay. However, on the 4-hour, we notice that there is an actual divergence. That means that momentum might start to slow. Actually, momentum has started to slow down, but it might also trigger a move to the downside, because we also have a very big resistance level here, let's not forget. So it is important that as we go up, we draw this channel, okay, and you see that the last attempt to the upside, we failed to reach that top. And now we barely managed to go above the median line of this channel, which suggests at this stage, at least, that perhaps, you know, losing the 101.70 and then the 101.40. So there's quite a few support levels over here. This is all this territory is quite strong. It would open the door down to 188, which is also this high. And from there, we go to the bottom of the channel. Losing the bottom of the channel is going to open the door all the way down to that low. Okay, so there is, of course, let's not forget, potential for an actual wedge as well. Maybe this is going to turn into a wedge, which means we might see something like this. You have a double divergence signal. This, to me, is going to be a more ideal scenario, because when I see a double divergence signal on the RSI, then that is a much stronger signal. So I will be paying attention also the 23, 38, 50. The moment we lose 50, which is also the 100 level, I think that is going to add a little bit more volatility, and we might see prices fluctuating around that level. But essentially, or eventually, you know, a move outside the channel is going to open the door to the longer term or medium term sort of 50, which is at 98.26, perhaps even down at 97.26, even if it's a new trend to the upside.